views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
When you feel like your life is crumbling around you, you could actually be on the verge of your next big thing. If you'd rather get into a car accident than go to work because you hate your job, you actually could be on the verge of finding your dream career. If you've had it with picking up the tab for your yet again unemployed boyfriend, you're actually on the verge of finding a fantastic relationship. Certified hypnotherapist and master life coach Laura Richer wants to show you how to use your breakdown for a breakthrough in creating a life you love. You're listening to Laura's hit new show, On the Verge Radio.
Welcome to On the Verge Radio, broadcasting here on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Andi Lucas, and I'm here with your host, Laura Richer.
Hi, Andi. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year. Laura is a certified hypnotherapist, master life coach, and she is the owner of Seattle Healing Hypnotherapy, Reiki, and Life Coaching. And speaking of New Year, Oprah Winfrey says, cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. Thoughts?
Yes, I love it. The new year is a great time to set intentions like we talked about on our last episode.
Yes.
And today we have a really exciting show because we are going to share with you 5 essential tips for getting everything you want in 2018.
So reaching our goals, reaching those intentions that we set. And we did. We set our intentions back on our December episode, and you can follow along with us on social media. If you just go to onthevergeradio.com, all the information is there. So why don't we just start with tip number 1? So these are tips on helping us reach our goals at getting everything we want. What is tip number 1, Laura?
So first of all, and we talked about this in the last episode as well, but it's so important, is know why you want to make the change. Yeah. So sometimes if we're not connected with the reason behind our intention, and we talked a lot about weight loss because that's an intention for most people at the new year, is that you really need to know why it is you want to lose weight and what motivates you to do that. So for some people, it can be looking great in their clothes. For some people, it can be there's a health issue that they need to resolve through diet and exercise. But it has to be something that really resonates with you and that you could feel why you want to make that change.
Yeah. And one of the intentions that you set is that you want to get healthier. And we talked a lot about getting to that connection. So can you walk us through how you got to your connection? Because everybody still has time to set their intentions and set their goals for the year.
Yes. So for me, what I did first was think about, okay, well, why would I want to get healthier? And the first thought I had was it would be nice to get into my skinny jeans again.
Yes.
However, that doesn't motivate me a lot. I would love for that to happen. But if I have to work really hard for it, and that's the only reason behind it, for me, that isn't that motivating. Yeah. I don't have a job where I wear a bikini to work. There's really no big reason to be in a smaller pair of jeans for me. Nothing that motivates me a lot. So that's not going to be it.
It could be motivating to clients if they show up and there's my life coach in a bikini, but we'll see.
Well, maybe after 2018, we'll see. And then, so then I thought, well, maybe for my overall health and having a healthy body, and that's great. And we all want that. But again, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not super sick. So that's not something that's on my radar that much. So I kind of got to a place where I thought, well, maybe this isn't even my goal. I can't find a reason why I want it. But ultimately, the conclusion I came to was I don't have a lot of energy. I have a lot of goals for this year, both personally and professionally, and I find myself worn out really easy. I don't have the energy to do all of them. I know that is directly related to not exercising and eating right. So that was my connection. That is why I want to create better health and well-being in the new year. But I had to find a reason why I was connected to that. Like I said, just losing a little weight to get into a smaller jeans was not going to be it for me.
Yeah, I love that. One of my goals is to clean out my house. Mm-hmm. I am the daughter of a hoarder, and I have a lot of stuff in my house. And yes, it would be great to have an organized house and have an organized office, but that wasn't enough for me either. I mean, I've been doing this kind of my whole life, and certainly since I've been living there for almost 7 years now. So it's like I have all this stuff. So what's going to get me to do it? And the truth is that I am in this relationship with somebody who I really love, and I want to be able to take it to the next level. And right now, all of this stuff in my house is kind of putting up a wall where I'm sure he feels like there's no room for him in my house. And maybe it's subconsciously a wall that I've put up, like that there's no room and I'm shutting myself off to this. And so it's time to purge and get rid of some stuff and open it up. And that's my connection. So it's like, that's why I want to do this.
So what was your process to getting to that? Because I know we've known each other for a while now, and you've been talking about organizing your house for a while now, and you haven't really connected it to that reason until recently. So did you have a process that you went through to get there? Or
Well, it started with, first I just feel so overwhelmed in there. It's like the walls are closing in on me, and it's like more stuff. And I just don't want this stuff anymore. And I think for a long time in my life, I was using material things to kind of make me feel more fulfilled, and I don't need that anymore. So that's part of it. And then Zach also offered to help me clean out my pantry. So that was kind of the first step. And we had to divide it into 3 weekends that we had to do this because there was so much stuff in there. And there's so many loads we took to Goodwill, and I realized it felt so freeing and so good to just finally let this stuff go. I had I think 50 wine glasses from all these wine tours I used to do. It was like 50 wine glasses. What do I need? I didn't even use them. They were all collecting dust.
Okay.
So it was really refreshing to kind of let that go and to see the wall, like nothing bad happened, only good happened. And it felt so good to get rid of stuff. So that was kind of that's what jump started it.
Okay.
And having kind of his support and encouragement.
It is great to have somebody that can support you either in the process with you or that will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
That could be a friend, a boyfriend, a coach.
Anybody,
it's always good to get some help.
Yeah. And kind of back to that tip, like knowing why you want it, I think it's really important to ask yourself, am I being pulled to reach this goal or am I being pushed? And I really I finally feel pulled to do it, not because if you think about it, picture being pushed and your heels are dug in and you don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I finally feel like, I want to get rid of this stuff. I want to kind of make this happen.
So the pushed feeling is the should. Oh, I should do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to quit eating dairy or clean out my closet or start exercising, but I probably should. And the energy with that it's not motivating.
No.
What's motivating, like you said, is I'm going to feel so free if I let go of these things. I'm going to feel so good if I start exercising and actually have energy. And that's being pulled to it.
Exactly. To really want something and know why we want it.
Yeah.
So, and just a quick note on these tips. If you don't get to hear the whole episode or you want to see the tips, you can go to the website onthevergeradio.com and just look for the fortune cookie. And that will link you right to all of these tips that we're going to be talking about. So, Laura, we're going to take a quick break. We're really excited because next we have a guest joining us when we come back, and she is one of your past clients, past and kind of current clients.
Yep.
And she has made incredible transformations over the past few years.
She really has.
And she's going to kind of tell us how she did it and how she stuck to her goals and her intentions. Before we go to break, can you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you?
So you can just give us a call at 206-765-8265, and you will reach Larry, our scheduler, and he can schedule for you a complimentary consultation where we can discuss how I might be able to support you in reaching your goals in 2018. Killing it in 2018.
Killing it.
And then you can also find us online at seattlehealinghypnosis.com, onthevergeradio.com. We're all over social media, on Facebook at On the Verge Radio, Instagram On the Verge Radio, Twitter On the Verge 18, and we're on YouTube.
Yeah, and you can always listen to archives of the show and watch them. And don't forget that we also would always love to get your questions and feedback on the show. So just feel free to email us at questions@onthevergeradio. Stay tuned for more and for our exciting guest when we come back here at On the Verge Radio on Transformation Talk Radio.
This was your city. You did it all and more, broke every law except for one, babe. Attraction.
Calling all moms. It's time to awaken your vibrant, intuitive, loving self in every area of your life. Join host Debbie Pokornik as she shares thoughts, stories, and tools to help you stand in your power. Listen to Vibrant, Powerful Moms helping everyday women create extraordinary lives. Mondays at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. For more information about Debbie, visit empoweringenergy.com. That's empowering with letters NRG.com.
Choose the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing, peace, and liberation. The Cornelia Stephanie Show is your catalyst for anchoring heaven on earth on a global scale. For more information, go to corneliastephanie.com.
The Knowledge Book, currently studied in 39 countries and 15 languages around the world, accelerates our evolution, takes us out of depression, offers universal truth, protects us, and makes us stronger, both spiritually and physically. So if you are interested in the Knowledge Book, visit usa.theknowledgebook.net and tune in to the Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Potasic on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
To see your life from an angel's perspective, book a personal consultation with Claire Candy Huff, angelic walk-in angel Ariel at Angel Healing House. Candy provides intuitive counseling, Reiki, and angel readings in person in Los Angeles or nationally and internationally via phone or Skype. She will channel the practical tools you need to transform your life. Call now, 831-277-3716, or visit angelhealinghouse.com.
Gain powerful insight and practical tools to support you on your spiritual journey. Access your higher self and tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific to A Life Untethered with Andrew Martin and now co-host Jeremy Nudell. Walking the Path of Freedom. Andrew is a highly attuned, intuitive oracle, energy worker, spiritual teacher, and international radio host. For more about Andrew and his services, visit andrewmartin.energy.
Come on, use me up until there's nothing left. Take back the night. Dizzy, spinning, sweating, you can't catch your breath. Take back the night.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to On the Verge Radio with your host, Laura Richer. That's me, and my co-host, Andi Lucas.
Hello.
And we are talking today about how to kill it in 2018 using 5 essential tips to get everything that you want this year. And I'm super excited about today's episode because we have a very special guest, one of my clients. Sinclair is a 21-year-old student at Northwest University in Chicago, and we've been working together for the past 2.5 years or so. Sinclair, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. So I kind of want to start from the beginning, and I was wondering if you could just share with us, what was your On the Verge moment? What was it that led you to decide to start working on your health and fitness a couple years ago and giving us a call at Seattle Healing?
Yeah. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that when I first got to college my freshman year, back in 2014, it was really the first time in my life that I sort of had full control over how I use my time, my habits, and I think that allowed me the space to become more attentive to some of the things that I had wanted to change or make adjustments in my life, but the time wasn't right, or I wasn't ready. I wasn't there yet. And I'm grateful that I had that moment at the end of my freshman year. I came back home for the summer and just decided that I was going to dedicate some time to really checking in with where I was, like mind, body, and spirit. And because that was the approach that I wanted to take, I wanted it to be sort of a holistic experience. That was what brought me to Laura. Yeah.
Nice. That's fantastic. And working with Sinclair has been such an amazing experience because, like she mentioned, we kind of approached this, and this was her intention, as not only just focusing on health and fitness, but addressing all of it, mind, body, spirit. You know, sometimes when we're focusing on weight or fitness, that's one of the issues that's going on. But we also want to look at all of the other things that are going on around that. And Sinclair was an amazing open client that was willing to get in there and do the work. So it's been fantastic to work with her. So Sinclair, I'm wondering, when you got home your freshman year, and you already said a couple things that you had more control and you were a little more paying more attention to what was going on with you. What do you think it was that was different for you that allowed you to really transform? Because you did create some major change and transformation in your life.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it was going off to school and sort of having that moment of enlightenment, almost, of the fact that for the rest of my life, I will be the only person who can truly be accountable for myself. You know, that you, of course, want to build a strong support network around you. And, like, I cannot undersell the importance of that. But all of the positive choices you make, all of the excuses that get in the way of making those positive choices, it's just about you and them. And I think sort of cluing into that made me just want to start sort of making these adjustments as soon as I could, because, you know, and it's a constant practice. I mean, I think, like, a great delusion is the mindset of, like, oh, if I lose X amount of weight, or, oh, if I, like, am in this relationship with this person, or, oh, if I have this job, I will be satisfied. But no, like, it's an ongoing process. But I think
Absolutely.
I'm grateful that I started thinking about how I wanted to generate the best possible circumstances for myself, so that as you know, life takes me where it does, I can approach the next step and sort of not have it feel like my life is out of my control, but that I have the right tools to sort of take things as they come.
And you bring up such a good point that kind of leads us into our second tip, is that failure is not an option. When you create a plan B, you're creating a plan to fail.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, or that one achievement is going to resolve every issue that you have, that you are going to encounter obstacles, but you don't want to use those obstacles as a way to quit. You want to have a mindset for success and know that there are obstacles and that you have to adjust as needed, but that's just part of it. So I love how you said that.
Sinclair, can you tell us, just in a nutshell, the kind of changes that you made in working with Laura? Like, if you lost a certain, because it sounds like you went to Laura originally because it was like, you know what, I want to lose some weight, I want to get healthy, mind, as you said, mind, body, and spirit. But how much weight did you lose? Do you feel comfortable sharing that and how you did it?
Yeah. So at my heaviest, I was about 190 pounds. And so I lost around 65 pounds.
That is fantastic.
And did that slowly and sustainably over the course of like a year and a half. And I think that, at least for me, that was a really, really important thing to keep reminding myself, was that I was in no rush, you know, like, as long as I kept doing the next thing in the right way, then I could do the thing after that in the right way. And that if I just sort of broke up that journey into the small fragments of, like, what was right in front of me in that moment, that sort of need that I definitely had before I sort of readjusted the way I went about becoming healthy, I definitely had that need for instant gratification, that, like, if I just, like, starved myself enough and could lose it really quickly, then that'd be great. That'd be awesome. But that, of course, does not work and does not last and does not make you happy. No. And I think that was like the biggest thing, was that in all of the really toxic manifestations of this, and I think underneath, like, all of these toxic manifestations of trying to lose weight was this underbelly of like, I want to be better than I am now, which is not an unhealthy desire, but the application of that desire is, I think, where it counts, like how can you go about doing this in a way that like you can cultivate more patience and like more generosity towards yourself, because it's really hard, like it never stops being, I mean, I think it becomes surprisingly intuitive, but it doesn't mean that there aren't moments where it isn't still hard.
Yeah.
And I think Sinclair,
and it's great because it's dynamic in that way. It doesn't feel, I feel like I still have a very active relationship, like with my body and with my mind and just with myself in general, because it doesn't feel like I set this goal of losing X amount of weight. And once I accomplished that goal, like it was all over and done with. Like I still have this relationship with this part of me. And I think that's a really important thing to honor.
And like Sinclair said, it was a lifestyle change. It wasn't just getting to this final end point where now I've lost this amount of weight.
Now I'm done.
I'll go back to my old ways, or that this end goal is going to be the source of all my happiness moving forward, because that it's usually is not true for people.
Right. And that kind of leads to tip number 3.
Yes.
That you can't do everything. And in trying to make these changes and you're committing to what you really want, you're going to have to sacrifice something. You're going to have to let something go to be able to make these new changes. To, these are habits that we've set for a lifetime.
And I think that Sinclair brought up such a good point about one of the things to let go of is that it needs to happen right now, or somehow there's something wrong with you before you get to that point, and that you're just going to beat yourself up until you get there.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of the puzzle. I mean, one of the best pieces of advice that Laura gave me that I remind myself of daily, if not 5 times a day, is that wherever you go, there you are. So it doesn't matter if you are in a place of discomfort or in a place that feels, less fraught. Like you're the same person in those places, and there is always going to be that one reliable constant of like you always being there. So it's just a matter of like meeting yourself in the place that you are, not judging yourself for being there, and acknowledging that you have time and you have the power to make the adjustments that count,
Absolutely. I love that. So on a more practical level, and that's absolutely the mindset that you want to be in to make big changes. But on a more practical level, what did you change in your life to create these results? It was kind of more action oriented. Did you have to let go of certain behaviors or routines in order to implement these changes?
Yeah. And I think the thing that was very helpful for me in this process was I tried to keep the focus on what am I adding versus what am I trying to subtract.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
And in putting the focus on the things that I was adding, the things that were fading away, it didn't have to be like this huge ceremonious sort of process. Like it felt like it was happening. Like for me, the binge eating was a huge problem. Like the attachment to eating as an emotional exercise. I knew that if I gave way too much focus on like trying to stop that habit, I would just put more attention on it. So instead I thought about the kind of relationship that I did want to have food. And one of the things that I had sort of set as I didn't, put a timeline or a date by which I wanted to accomplish this goal. But one of the things that I sort of at the beginning of this process I thought would be really exciting was if down the line I could eventually become vegan. And it worked out in that I had decided to become vegetarian or pescatarian my first year of college, and really did find that for myself and my body, everybody is different, that cutting out more and more animal products made me feel better and made me lose weight without trying. I had done the whole counting calories thing like monitoring things really closely. But I think setting guidelines that were about like, what can I add? Like, oh, okay, so I'm not eating as much dairy. I'm not eating as much protein that comes from animal sources. So that means I can eat.
Did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I can actually pick up there because I started doing that about a year and a half ago as I started eating this kind of plant-based diet. And I found that really helped me. And like Sinclair was just saying, everybody's different.
Yes.
What works for some people doesn't work for other people. But I found that I could eat, like she was saying, okay, I'm not eating cheese, which was very difficult for me because I do believe I might be part mouse.
Okay.
But I wasn't eating cheese and dairy, but oh my gosh, I could eat 3 avocados a day and I could eat all these lentils and I could eat all these other things that I really enjoy. So it really was about what am I getting to add to this?
Right.
Versus. So you're doing the Whole30 program because I know
am.
that fitness, as we talked about just a little bit ago, is a big thing. So what are you kind of letting go of in doing this Whole30 program?
So I am letting go of.
Oh, Sinclair, do we have you back?
Yes.
Yay!
Great.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
So you were saying that, I mean, we just asked Laura, what is she kind of letting go of? Because you were saying that you got to add more and more other types of food to your diet in becoming vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Laura.
So we'll get to me in just a second, but I want to again recap what I think Sinclair said was so important is focusing on what you are adding in and what you are gaining. Because a lot of times, especially when we're talking about, well, really the end of anything and the end of a relationship, even if that's the relationship you have with a specific way of eating, it feels like such a loss and that, almost like a punishment that I have to lose whatever this is. But if you shift your focus into what you're gaining,
yes,
which is maybe adding other foods that you like, you said more avocados, or maybe you like nut milk more than you find out you like that better than dairy or whatever that is. And then the other thing is focusing on, what you're gaining in terms of results. So Sinclair, when you started really focusing on having a vegetarian or a vegan diet, what did you notice that was changing in your body or your mindset or anything in your life that kept you moving forward?
Well, I think it was a combination of what I was noticing, what changes I was noticing in my body, both with like trying to eat in a healthier way, but also I was for the first time in my life trying to build a healthy relationship with exercise, and it was sort of a similar approach in the sense of focusing on what could be gained versus what could be lost, because I started doing a lot of like strength and conditioning training, and the process of realizing that I was gaining muscle was so amazing. Like I think there was nothing that was more motivating than to realize that I was really doing something that made me feel like super strong and like powerful, like my most powerful self, and then also realizing that like my body was changing in that way. And in terms of changing my diet, I mean, I just had like horrible digestive problems, and did not know what the deal was with them until I decided to start cutting back on animal products. I was like, oh, of course, like, this is like why I feel so horrible and bloated all the time. And so it really just, it was all of these subtle shifts that just led to, a difference that I really that felt like for me just in very practical ways, just really helpful. The fact that I could get to class a little quicker, the fact that when I was falling asleep, I didn't feel so uncomfortable and it was hard to find a position to sleep in. And I think the pragmatic side of it was for me really motivating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I when the line had dropped, I was sharing that I had done the same kind of thing. I went to kind of a plant-based diet, and that feeling of finally feeling comfortable, I didn't realize how uncomfortable I had felt before and how bloated I had felt before until suddenly it wasn't there. It was like, oh. And the other thing for me was, I don't feel tired every time I eat. Because I was like, every time I ate lunch, it was time for a nap. Like, that's not. But I'd been doing it for so long, and it was just the way that it was. So I just thought, well, this is how life is, until I saw a different way. And it was so refreshing. And I think seeing those kinds of positive things helps it kind of buoys us to keep wanting to do more. Oh my gosh, how much better can I feel? Yeah. So I think one of our tip number 4 is kind of having an action plan. And so, as Carolyn Mace, she's a very wise and kind of a no BS author. She says, you cannot change anything in your life without intention alone, which can be watered down occasional hope that you'll get to tomorrow. Intention without action is useless.
And especially going vegan, you have to have some kind of plan, because they're not, and I have never been in the Midwest, but I would imagine there's not ready, available vegan options everywhere you go. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely was helpful when I moved off campus and was able to cook my own meals. But yeah, this is like I think an interesting point, because for me, I had so used like food as a way of like punishing and shaming myself, where like in the past when I had tried to get healthier, every time that I sort of strayed off that like really like strict, stringent plan that I was setting out for myself about how I was going to eat and when I was going to eat and what that was going to look like. When I would inevitably fail, I just ended up feeling horrible about myself. And so a part of what for me made this journey successful was that I let the process be more intuitive. And I mean, I was still doing like a lot of research and everything, but I wasn't, I felt like I had all the information that I needed. It was more about, I'm going to eat in a way that I know will make me feel good. And like, here's what I'm defining good as. Like, good does not mean like comforted. It means like satiated. It means that I'm going to be using food as energy. I think to have that dialogue with myself where it wasn't like, okay, I need to lose some weight, so here's what each week is going to look like, was for me a very radical idea, and it was the thing that led to my success. Now, of course, everyone is different, and everyone motivates themselves in different ways. But I think the plan and the action that I took was through forcing myself to listen to myself and trust that I had the right information. Because I think using this sense of like, oh, but I don't know enough, or I don't know how like to go about it. Like, if we just, I think most of us, if we just like paused and really like took that moment to experience what good food makes us feel, like good wholesome food makes us feel, like we know what we need to do. I mean, I think it's biologically wired into us.
You mean French fries dipped in mayonnaise? I don't understand why that doesn't make me feel good. I don't get it. I completely agree. It's really we do know what makes us feel good. It's just, I think we forget, and plus what you had mentioned before, that instant gratification, that's something hard for me, because it's like, well, I want to have this cheese right now.
I'll deal with the consequence of it later.
And I finally got to a point where I don't want to deal with those consequences later. It just doesn't work for me. Yeah. And I appreciate that you have said this a couple times, that everybody's different. And so for you, your action plan was kind of to not necessarily have this structured plan. Whereas for me, I have to write down, what am I going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what, so that I know exactly what to get at the grocery store so I can have my food prepared. Otherwise, I will make bad decisions, and I'll resort to eating cheese. So a lot of my life comes back to cheese, as you might have figured out by now. So, but I think that that's really important for people to realize whatever the action plan is that works for you is what you should do. Don't do something that someone tells you to do just because they're telling you to do it. Do what works for you and what you're going to stick with, or otherwise this isn't nothing. You're not going to get anywhere.
And these are all great. I love all of this and really positive ways to look at things. But I also want to address a little bit the obstacles and the times when it's like, oh, God, I'm so sick of this, or I don't want to do this. Sinclair, what did you do during those times when you felt kind of blocked, or even if, I don't know if you did, but were there any days when you're like, I'm kind of sick of this?
Yeah. No, yeah.
I want a donut right now.
Yeah, I think it'd be really, really bizarre if that wasn't part of the experience. Because I think those weirdly are the moments where you know something is working, you know? Because, like, you're only going to have a craving for something if you're not, like, indulging in it. And I think for me, and I really, like, this process for me was, like, maybe 25% physical and 75% mental, because it really was just, like, a battle of the wills, you know, in those moments where I was like, this is a lot of work, this doesn't feel worth it, or, like, I don't understand why, like, as, like, an 18-year-old girl, this is something that I'm having to think about. Like, I have friends who, like, don't have to deal with this right now in their life or in the way that I have to. And in those points, I think, again, sort of going back to narrowing the scope of, like, okay, well, maybe I want to give up, like, in this moment, but maybe let's see how I feel in an hour, or even in half an hour, or 10 minutes, or even just in the next breath. Like, maybe I'll just take another breath, and maybe I'll take another one.
And that is such a great tool. Just wait 1 minute. Just give it a moment to pass.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that, and even in the next breath, or if it's in the next hour, you might be in a totally different place.
Yeah. Or you don't want it as much. Or you've regained kind of your strength where you're like, I don't need that donut or that hunk of smoked Gouda.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Back to the cheese. So, you know, and what Sinclair said, I think is true for most of my clients that I work with, is that, you know, 25% of it is physical and overcoming physical cravings. And the rest of it is just that mental battle that you're having with yourself. And, you know, weight or any other addiction that we deal with, I think it always comes back to self-love. And when you're feeling blocked in achieving your goal and really taking care of you, the block is more around how you're feeling about yourself and how you're caring and loving for yourself, more so than it's about that hunk of smoked Gouda.
Right, or Swiss, or Gruyere.
And I think that like was also because my big vice was sugar. And I think an important step for me was, and it jogged my memory because Laura just brought up, like, this idea of addiction, but, like, being able to say, like, yeah, I have a food addiction. Like, this is, like, no different than, any other sort of substance abuse. Like,
especially sugar.
Yeah. And also to, like, realize that, like, it's not just hard because, like, it's hard biologically and physiologically, but because we have cravings, but because we, like, live in a culture that, like, wants us to be addicted to these substances. So, like,
there's a whole science behind how they made an Oreo, and it's the perfect amount of fat and MSG and sugar and yeah.
Exactly. And so I think the extent to which, like, you can also be kind to yourself in knowing that, like, there are huge, like, systems that want you to be sick. And that, like, you really are doing quite a radical thing by subverting that, you know, by, like, not buying into that. And, you know, I won't say, I mean, like, I love baking. Like, I love making sweet things, but especially at the beginning, like, for me, it was really motivating to be like, wow, I'm like overcoming an addiction, and it's an addiction that these huge companies who are making profit off of like our sickness. I'm not falling into that trap. And like, that is really exciting, you know?
Yes.
So
my mother has said, and she says that her father says this, that sugar is the root of all evil. And part of me believes that. It's, I've seen a lot of movies on it, like sugar coated and all of that. It's pretty intense. So we are actually going to take a break. But Sinclair, it was so fantastic talking to you. The whole time you're talking and all the wise things that you've said, it's hard to believe that you're 21. You just have a wise soul.
Sinclair is wise beyond her years.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Me.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you so much. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear tip number 5 to continue killing it. And we'll be right back with On the Verge Radio here on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay tuned.
What would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and you kicking me out. You got my head spinning. No kidding, I can't pin you down.
Have you ever said to a friend, I am trying to be less stressed. I am hoping to meet someone special. Or how about, I am working on getting a job I love. Hi, I'm Eve from Elite Tarot, host of the weekly show Mainstream Metaphysics Radio. Words like hoping, wanting, and trying may seem innocent. However, they carry with them emotional weight that actually blocks energy. Next time you start to say these words, say instead, I am becoming less stressed. I am looking forward to meeting someone special. I am pursuing a job I love. While your brain may resist, note how your body physically feels as possibility of success suddenly appears. As an intuitive coach and professional tarot card reader, I work with clients worldwide on using energy effectively to embrace joy. If you'd like to schedule a session, please visit my website at elitetarot.com. That's ELITETAROT.com.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you.
Tune in the first and third Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
If you're dealing with fear and anxiety, you've probably noticed that the more you fight these emotions, the stronger they seem to get. Dr. Friedemann Schaub, the author of The Fear and Anxiety Solution, explains that instead of suppressing, we need to identify and resolve the deeper, subconscious root causes of fear and anxiety. His personal breakthrough program has helped thousands worldwide to overcome their emotional challenges. To learn more, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com and schedule your free consultation with Dr. Schaub now.
Tune in to the Psychic Professors Show, The Voices of Spirit Radio, with international medium and spirit artist Dr. Susan Barnes on Transformation Talk Radio, featuring a variety of spiritual topics such as psychic art, spiritualism, EVP, psychic development, and mediumship. This hit call-in show provides listeners with breakthrough wisdom to enliven and enlighten their lives. Visit spiritartgallery.net.
Tune in each Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days, because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
Give me of you, oh, how many times do I have to tell you?
Welcome back for more On the Verge Radio here on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Andi Lucas, with our host with the most, hostess with the mostest.
Hostess with the mostest.
That's Laura Richer, you've just heard.
Hi, Andi.
And today we have been talking about the 5 foolproof ways to reach your goals, the 5 ways to just kill it in 2018
and get everything you want.
Everything. And we just had a really fantastic conversation with, wow, what a fantastic client to get to work with.
I absolutely love working with Sinclair. So if you didn't get to hear her part on the show, you might want to go back and listen to it in the archives. Yes. She is a very insightful, wise young woman, and it's been an honor to work with her.
Yeah. Tony Robbins says that setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible.
Yes.
And I love that.
And that's what we're doing here today.
We absolutely are. So these tips, can you recap them before we unveil tip number 5? And by the way, all of these are on the website. Just go to onthevergeradio.com, look for the fortune cookie, and you'll be on your way.
So tip number 1, connect with why you want it. You have to really feel what this is going to do for you. And if that's something, if it's a goal that you can't really connect with, I need to make $1 million this year, but it seems so far away, or I didn't really know why I need $1 million. That's probably not the right focus. So you want to find something to work on that you really can connect with. Second, do not have a plan B. And I know that some people disagree with this, but I think a plan B is a plan to fail. You're just already planning for what you're going to do when it doesn't work out.
You're already accepting, I might not reach my goal, so here's what I'm going to do instead.
Right.
What?
Right.
No, failure's not an option.
So really just focusing on what you want to create. That does not mean you're not going to encounter obstacles or that you won't have to adjust in any sort of way. That's all going to happen, but focusing on going in the direction that you want to go.
Success needs to be the mindset.
Yes, absolutely. And then 3, and this is so important for me in my own life, and I have to remind this to myself all the time because I want to do everything, is you can't do everything, that you need to let go of some things. So for me right now, and focusing on trying to be healthy, the plan that I'm doing is called the Whole30, which I'm sure everyone has heard of by now. But it's basically a whole foods diet where you eliminate certain things that can cause inflammation and addiction and negative things to your health. So look that up, Google that if you haven't heard of it.
But you're essentially not eating sugar, you're not eating dairy products, and you're not eating processed food. You're eating whole foods.
No dairy, no grains, no alcohol, no sugar, no processed food, organic meats. Organic fruits and vegetables, as natural as you can get. Real food is basically the idea with that. Yes. So with that, I do have to let go of a couple of things. Probably a little bit of my social life will be on hold while I'm working on some of these things, just because it's hard for me to go wine tasting with a cheese plate in front of me.
That would explain why you haven't been there.
When I'm trying to follow through with this plan. And I want to set myself up for success. I know if I go wine tasting, I'm going to want to have a glass of wine or a cheese plate, and it's going to make it difficult for me. Yep. So, for me, those are some that I need to go grocery shopping. I need to make sure that I have everything that I need to cook in my house so that I don't come home starving and choose something that I don't want to choose. So letting go of some of the things that are not going to work for you while you're working on your goal. And then have an action plan, which again, that was going into shopping, setting yourself up for success, choosing activities that are going to support you as you're trying to make a change.
Yes.
And one thing that Sinclair kind of mentioned, and I know from working with her, is her change became her normal habit. It became her lifestyle. So she did have a really intense focus on changing her diet and losing weight and being vegan at one point. And once she reached that goal, she still was in relationship with that process, but it wasn't her main focus.
Right.
So I think it's important to remember that too, that even though you have to have an action plan right now and maybe kind of be intense about what you're trying to do, it will become second nature eventually. You don't have to always be this focused.
Yes. And I think that is really important. So I say that I've got this action plan and I know what I'm going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's because I'm trying to get back I am back in my plant-based diet, and I need to know what I'm doing or I will not succeed.
Right.
But after 2 or 3 months, this is going to become kind of second nature.
And you already have those foods in your house, and you've already been used to making them. So
exactly.
So, but give yourself tools to support you and be successful. Set yourself up for success.
Yeah. So what is tip number 5?
So tip number 5, and this I think is the key to everything, is be able to imagine it happen. Visualize how you will feel when you achieve your goal.
Yeah.
And if you can, start feeling that way right now. So that's the power of hypnosis. That's the power of visualization, vision boards and affirmations and all of those things, is it's helping you get into a place where you can feel the result that you want to recreate. If it's
easy for you to say.
I know, I knew that was coming. So for example, like I said, with the $1 million, if that seems so far away from me, I don't even really know why I want it. Can't even imagine what that would feel like having it. And it doesn't seem attainable. It's going to be hard for me to get there because I can't imagine it happening.
Yeah.
So just really being able to know what it would feel like to reach that goal.
Yeah. So I did something to kind of help me kickstart this idea of visualization. This past Saturday, I went to a workshop down in Tacoma. I went to Tacoma, and it was a workshop, and it was a vision boarding workshop. And so we kind of spent the morning thinking about the things we wanted to let go of. We actually wrote them on some paper and burned it and said, goodbye, stay in 2017. And then we thought about, what is it that I want to create? And I had to really visualize, what do I want to see myself doing? How do I want to change this? And we made our vision boards by cutting pictures out of magazines. I actually have not completed mine because I'm going to finish. I want to print some things out, words that I like. I want to print pictures that I find on the interwebs. I want to put those on this. But it really does help to kind of see it. I mean, Buddha said, what you think you become, what you feel you attract, what you imagine you create. And so seeing it every day is going to make a big difference.
Right, because then you're thinking about what you want to become. The visualization is helping you see that. Yeah. And then you can start to feel that the more that you imagine it.
Yeah. What did Wayne Dyer say?
Wayne Dyer said, you'll see it when you believe it.
Oh,
so the opposite of I'll believe it when I see it.
You'll believe it when you see it.
You'll see it when you believe it.
I love that.
Yes.
That's awesome. So maybe it's creating a vision board. Maybe it's changing your screensaver on your computer. Maybe it's seeing it in your meditations. Whatever it is, you kind of need to do something that works for you, whatever it is. With all of these steps, it's kind of the same thing. What is going to work for you or it's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah. So can we kind of, we've mentioned that we have our intentions on our Facebook page and our Instagram and Twitter page. So can we kind of check in and see how you've been doing? So you started your Whole30 program January 3rd?
Yes, that is correct. After a vacation of not being on the Whole30. So I was really motivated and ready to go when I got home from Christmas vacation. And so I have done it for a week now. I believe today is my 7th day. And I feel really good. It really hasn't been difficult for me. I fortunately love to cook, and my boyfriend Travis is doing the same plan with me, and he also loves to cook. So it has been fairly easy. We haven't really run into too many obstacles yet. I do have to be prepared. I do have to take my lunch to work. So I have to plan for it. But so far, it's been great. And I am noticing after a week starting to have more energy, starting to feel a lot better. Yes.
And it's only been a week.
And it's only been a week.
Awesome.
3 more to go.
One of mine is to get back to my plant-based diet. And that I already feel it. I've already lost 5 pounds just by cutting out cheese. Frankly, that was a real doozy. And you know what? On Saturday, I went to, a client had a holiday party and I attended, and they had this huge cheese platter, and I helped myself to some Gouda, and I went right off the wagon, and I felt terrible afterwards, like physically, not to mention the guilt, although I let it go. I didn't feel very good the next day. And it was that was a super helpful reminder. I can't eat like that. It doesn't work for me.
Well, and what I love about that is that you fell off the wagon, but you got right back into it. That you didn't use that as say, well, all right, I guess 2018, it's not going to work out. I'll wait till 2019.
Exactly. I kept going. So if you want to follow along with our intentions, believe us, there's more than just eating right and eating healthy. We've got lots of other intentions that we've set up for ourselves. Follow us on social media. So Facebook, On the Verge Radio, Instagram, On the Verge Radio, Twitter, On the Verge 18. I can't believe this, but we're almost out of time. Our next episode is when?
It is on February 14th, I believe, Valentine's Day. And so we are going to be talking about love on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we're talking to all the single ladies who are interested in finding love. We dare say richer love with Laura Richer. So Laura, before we go, remind everybody how they can get in touch with you.
So you can just give us a call at 206-765-8265 and schedule a complimentary consultation to see how we can help you achieve your goals in the new year. You can also find us all over social media at On the Verge Radio. And you can go to the website at onthevergeradio.com or find my business, seattlehealinghypnosis.com as well.
Fantastic. So thank you so much. Here is to killing it in 2018, getting everything we want, reaching our goals. Sinclair, thanks again for joining us. Laura, we're on the verge of making this happen.
Killing it in 2018.
All right. See you next time.
You've been listening to On the Verge Radio, using your breakdown for a breakthrough with Coach Laura Richer. We all have that moment in life when we are on the verge of big change. This time of transition is a wild and unknown place. How will you show up? Embrace the positive, drop the negative, and you can experience total transformation. Schedule a breakthrough session with Laura at seattlehealinghypnosis.com. Laura will help you discover the path to creating rapid and positive changes. Tune in every month for On the Verge Radio with Laura Richer.